Well, well, well. Clemson Tiger fans, college football fans, welcome back to another edition of the Clemson Tigers post-game show on the Clemson at the Voice of College Football YouTube channel. Tonight, I will be your host, Jordan. We will see if Tiger Paul Craven can join us tonight, but I am joined by two other co-hosts here to recap and talk about the game tonight between the Clemson Tigers and the Florida State Seminoles. Clemson coming out with the win, a hard-fought win that got a little closer than it should have been. Really, not even a little closer, too close. 34-28. Thank you guys for joining. Please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification as well, because we do these live shows 2 times a week. So make sure that you hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. And without further ado, I will add my co-host, DeAndre. What's going on, my man?
What's up, bro? How you doing tonight?
Doing all right. And I'm also joined by Smitty. What's going on, bro?
How's it going?
Going good, man. Just a really weird game. I'm sure you guys have a lot of mixed feelings about it as well. A lot of good, a lot of bad, especially towards the end. But at the end of the day, Clemson is 7-0, heading into the a big undefeated matchup against Syracuse next week. But yeah, a lot of takeaways from this game. So I kind of want to get you guys' like overall thoughts before we dive into the nitty gritty of the game. What did you think about the quality of play, just overall? DeAndre, you can go first.
I think we got it all started off kind of slow, adjusted to what they were doing on defense. I like the way DJ played. I think he hit Antonio Williams on a long shot. He got a touchdown on that one. I just think we just started off slow and sluggish, but I mean that's what to be expected. And then the way we, the middle of the game, we took over, and then the end of the game we held on. I mean I don't know what more to say about our slow start and then our sloppy ending, but I just think a lot to improve on. I think a bye week would do us good.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to clean up on. Smitty, what are your thoughts?
Very mixed, as you said in the beginning. I thought they'd start way faster, but it all leveled out in the end. The defense got settled in, offense got settled in. But once the big lead came, it was like back to where we started. Game slowed way down. Maybe a little too conservative on play calling in the fourth quarter. Game shouldn't have been that close at all. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of, just to piggyback on everything you guys said, yeah, it just seemed like there was just not a lot of consistency. The attitude throughout the game was not consistent. It seemed like, once Clemson got up to that 34-14 lead, it was just kind of both sides of the ball were just kind of, on cruise control. And, Dabo mentioned it after the game. He was like, well, the fans were leaving, but the Florida State, their football team didn't leave, and they hadn't quit yet. And so they just didn't really play like it. They played like a team that wasn't used to being up. And that's kind of what made the game end up being way closer than it really should have been. But
let's be honest, our defense didn't live up to what the hype was.
No.
DJ did a great job today. Offense played well, but our defense, man, I mean, that was a good running game by Florida State, where they said, we're going to push them left, and then you cut it back up, cut against the grain. I thought it was excellent game plan by them. Luckily, they got a dumbass for a coach. Sorry, but but I thought it was I just thought it was that's a game plan by Florida State coming out. Luckily, our DJ was on target because I don't think if this game was played last year, I don't think that this would have happened with DJ. But I like the fight that he had, and it was a barn burner in the first half. But thank God their coach is just so crazy that he didn't know what he was doing with some of the plays he was doing.
Yeah. I'm getting an echo from one of you guys. I don't know what that is. But let's kind of break it down. The first quarter, Florida State gets the ball first, and they really drive right down the field. A lot of ran the ball really well. A lot of stretch run plays, stuff that Clemson hasn't really given up in the past. It seemed like they were getting blown off the ball at times, and they were running pretty hard. Jordan Travis got really comfortable, and it was a really quick, efficient drive for him, and that kind of set the tone. What did you guys see? Just from that drive and really, I mean, honestly, their first two offensive drives were just, or two of their first three offensive drives were just. It was really easy for them to move the ball. And what do you guys think that could be attributed to?
It seemed in the front seven there were a lot of missed assignments, and where there weren't missed assignments, it seemed there was very, very poor tackling. I'd like to see a stat on how many times there was a hand on Jordan Travis, but he wasn't tackled. I mean, there was one time, he ran right at Barrett Carter, and Barrett Carter just kind of froze, and there he is running in the end zone. Like, that's not a play. That's not something you expect from Barrett Carter. So it was very uncharacteristic of the defense. Some of the plays at the beginning of the game, almost as if they weren't ready to play yet. It's what it felt like to me, anyway.
DeAndre, what do you think?
I didn't know if it was me giving the feedback or not. Personally, I think that if we go back to the Boston College game last week, our defensive lineman would get our hands on the quarterback, but they wouldn't complete the sack. So I think that that had a lot to do with it. But like I said, the running game they had, and also making our defenders run sideline to sideline, the quick pace. I thought that's what helped Florida State get an early lead. I'm sorry, I got caught up in the Carolina Duke game. It's an amazing game, amazing ending if y'all see it. But
I don't have it up.
Yeah, Carolina's gonna look like they're gonna win. But anyway, to make a long story short, I just think that when they would get the ball out quick to the sidelines, making our linebackers run, the no huddle. I thought it was an excellent game plan to start the game, and we were kind of shocked. But like I said, poor tackling. That touchdown. I would listen to it on the radio, so I didn't really get to see it. But sound like Brent Carter, he made a mistake on the read option, so that kind of hurt us in the game. So. But like I said, man, I think we played an amazing game as far as the offense go. But our defense, I just think we just got to get better. And let's give Nate Wiggins a shout out. Nate Wiggins played a heck of a game. I don't want to brown beat the fact that, we went down to a hostile environment and we, how do you say it? We still won. And yes, it got close at the end. But Nate Wiggins, man, when he was guarding that 6'7" guy, he made a lot of great plays versus him on the on the back end. And, I just think some things need to be figured out. And I think the bye week can't come soon enough. I know Syracuse is going to be a very important game, but the bye week can't come soon enough for Clemson. I just think that they need to get in there and get back in the laboratory, as you want to call it, and let's improve on what's going wrong with our team so far. But 9 straight games, that's hard to do for anybody, to be perfect. I think they're tired, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting the echo again. But yeah, let's. I mean, we talked about the defense, in that first quarter, but I did think it was really positive seeing the offense, respond, to each drive, because I think if Clemson had not, answered Florida State's touchdown drives in that first half, maybe the game plays out a little bit different. But they really did a good job, hit some big plays. DJ, that big touchdown down the sidelines to Antonio Williams to tie the game was really, really huge. And that was a really phenomenal play. I think the offensive game plan in general was good for most of the game. So what did you guys see? What do you want to see more of, from the offense? But what did you like? What did you dislike?
I don't feel like deep shots. I don't think Collins even got a look this week.
Nope.
But overall, really good play calling for the first 3 quarters. I would say real hard running from both running backs. Can't take anything away from either one of those guys. I just think we got to do better about, if we're going to run the clock out, then we got to do it. You can't go out there with a plan to run the clock out and have a 3 and out, because then that's the purpose of what you were trying to do. Outside of that, I mean, just clean up that fourth quarter play calling. I think you have a very all-around good offense throughout the rest of the season.
Well, what I think is that I like the way our offensive line played, and I like the fact DJ didn't turn over the ball. I like the quick hit game that we did with the receivers. It reminded me of when we played Miami a couple of years ago, when they had 2 good rush defensive ends. They got the ball out fast. I mean, that double flea flicker, I like the creativity that we saw in the game with that, because I thought that was just an amazing play. I mean, we came out like some hell on wheels the last part of the second half. I mean, first half and the early part of the second half. I just don't know why they stopped trying to kind of get the ball down the field and, push the issue and run the floor, score up on Florida State. And if it was anybody else, like Tennessee, we just saw today, sometimes you got to put your foot on the metal and blow out the team in front of you. And if it was somebody else other than Florida State that could actually score, I think we might have been in some trouble at the end of the game. Sometimes I don't know if he was trying to be nice and not run the score up on them, but I mean, I don't know. But I think our offense looked really good. Miller had a couple of penalties that could be cleaned up. I don't know why that 4-for-1 play, I don't know if we were going to go for it. The one where Punting, I think, got a penalty. I don't know why he just didn't line up and just go for it and got off the field. But I think it was a very good play calling game by the offense. So, hey, I just can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. Our offense is clicking. I mean, it's not 300 yards like we would like to see, but I mean, by DJ, but 3 touchdowns of passing and 1 touchdown running. I think that's a pretty good game. I think we got a touchdown call back at the end of the game, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I think it was in the third quarter.
Yeah, that was another Miller holding call, correct?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with you guys there. Offensively, I mean, just there were some moments there were a lot of moments of brilliance, a lot of moments of really, you saw some really good stuff. I was really proud of how the offensive line played. They got good push in the run game for the most part. Shipley and Maffa, ran hard, especially Shipley. Uh, it was a good game plan. You saw them both of them get involved in the passing game as well. DJ was accurate for the most part. Missed a couple throws and missed a read. I remember that play that he missed Antonio Williams wide open. Safety came down. And he could have. It was no one in front of him if he had hit him in stride, but he just didn't see him. So just cleaning that kind of stuff up, just those kind of missed opportunities. You should have had another touchdown that was called back by holding, which that's a whole nother thing. Clemson getting called for holding and stuff like that, and Florida State. I don't want to be one to complain about officiating in a win, but it felt like there was a lot of stuff that Florida State got away with on the offensive side of the ball. But all in all, it was a really good performance. It's just you saw when the offense is rolling, it looks really, really good, and it's just about maintaining that consistency when you build a lead. Doing the things that you're supposed to do when you're up, and they just didn't do that. The 3 and outs didn't help. Giving Florida State short fields. I will say Aiden Swanson did a really good job of mitigating that. I thought he punted really well tonight. But yeah, that was just it was a frustrating way to close a game that you felt like you should have won by a lot more points. But
yeah, the punt game's really improved. But yeah, it felt like the end of the third into the fourth quarter, it almost felt like we're in the lead, so let's experiment a little bit. And it just didn't really go the way they expected, I guess. But hopefully, we get number 80, get them the ball a little more here coming up these next few weeks before we get into that bye week, and hopefully get ready for some championship football.
Right. Another thing I was looking at, I'm trying to find the penalty order, but I'm amazed that we gave up 460 yards of total offense to Florida State. I don't know what's going on in that room, that defensive room. That's what really upsets me, because we know how much talent we got out there. Maybe because all these guys, because it's been a long year, maybe these guys haven't really caught up with being all back together. But I don't know what could have happened. Maybe Breezy wasn't in shape. Zaire Thomas, I know he's working himself back. Maybe he's on the pitch count, but that's more upsets me than anything. I don't think that this game should have been as close as should be. I just said that, they might have scripted a few plays to start off the game, and they caught us off guard. But it's like, we gave up 570 yards to FSU. It's like again, luckily their coach don't know what he is doing half the time when it comes to games, when it's not scripted, because we might have been in really deep trouble. But DJ saved us, so we need to go back and give DJ credit, because everybody outside of me was talking about getting rid of DJ at the beginning of the season. I like, man, let's give the guy a chance because the hard year that he had. But DJ saved us today, and it was a great win.
yeah, just a really. Yeah, just a really mixed bag. You mentioned the yardage given up. And a lot of it in the second half. They got a lot of yardage in the second half, but a lot of it was empty calories. I thought Clemson's defense did a good job for the most part of bowing up in the especially in the third quarter, third and early fourth quarter, getting stops. When they were going for it on fourth down in the red zone, and so that was huge. But it just. It was not it was definitely not a vintage performance for the Clemson defense. I mean, Brian Bresee, he had a couple of opportunities to get Jordan Travis down to the ground, just couldn't quite bring him down. Got a hand on him, got him by the jersey a little bit, and just kind of got free.
Dragged back a couple times.
Yep. And it was frustrating because the times that Clemson would get pressure on Travis, it seemed like there was you barely miss him, or there's a hold that's not called. I know I saw Rook and Tyler Davis get held quite a few times. KJ when they're getting back there, so
a lot of uncalled holds for sure.
Yeah, so just give
backfield.
Yeah, just giving Travis time to make plays and all that. But I will say the second, honestly, I think the unit that played the best on the defense was the secondary, as we mentioned, because they didn't.
Right.
Yeah, really surprising. Just as far as their coverage was concerned, I thought they did a good job. They didn't give up a ton of big plays. Towards the end, it got a little dicey, but for the majority of the game, they played really solid. And I did, it was the team. They did what they had to do to win. They pulled it together, and got out of there. So I kind of want to transition and we already kind of mentioned the special teams, but they played a huge role in this game. Whether it was Aiden Swanson punted really well. BT Potter hit a 50. What I don't remember what was it. Was it 50 yards? Someone probably knows.
47.
It might have been close to
They were talking 59 at practice. Or
we know he has a cannon for a leg, so BT was solid, and he made his kicks, and obviously the big Shipley kick return to start the second half was really, really big.
Excuse me, Jordan. The kick was 47 was as long.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Or Smitty was right. So that was a really good thing to see. The special teams played a really good. Just all three, all phases was pretty good. Although actually that's not true. They gave up a couple of decent returns, but they haven't done that for the most part. So I can give them a little bit of a pass.
They did have some good punt coverage though.
Yeah, punt coverage was good, and and so that Will Shipley return was huge. I thought he was gone. I thought he broke all those tackles going through there. I thought he was going to break loose, and they kind of caught him, but it was really it set up that trick play, that little double reverse pass to Davis Allen. So special teams did a really good job of setting Clemson up in good situations, and really.
But Shipley always seems like he has big games against Florida State. When he had that long, like you said, that long kick return coming out of half, I think that helped us put it away. I know we're probably talking about Clemson football, but if you got a chance to check out what's going on with Utah and Southern Cal, that's amazing. I don't know who's going to win this one. 43-42, 48 seconds left. 2 timeouts by Southern Cal.
It's a nail biter.
Oh yeah, so great games on today. Great game, probably the best game. What's it called? This is probably the best. Ooh, he gone.
Yeah, it was a really good day for sure.
Yeah, this is probably about the best football day we done had in a while. Whole weekend.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a really good Saturday. Yeah, I really enjoyed the play from the secondary. Jalen Phillips really stood out to me. I really liked his play.
I didn't think that he was going to play the rest of the game because when Sister accidentally ran into him.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was gold because I remember when Sister killed Rancher last year. Yeah. So yeah, I thought he would go for the rest of the game.
I'd like to see talking about the secondary safeties kind of step up a little more. But at the same time, they have to help a lot in the coverage now. Try not to get beat deep. So we'll see how that develops.
Do y'all think that's why they gave us so many yards? Because we didn't blitz at the middle like we usually do? Because we've been playing coverage? You think that's why we gave us so many yards today?
Could be. I think honestly, I think it was just trying to. Part of it was trying to get too cute in the pass rushing situations. They did a lot of, Clemson does a lot of stunts. They do a lot of stuff like that. Especially when Jordan Travis was scrambling, just would have been, it just seemed like they couldn't really keep contained consistently. And then in the run game, I think they just got out physicaled at times. On those power run plays, the stretch plays, just really got, you really got gashed, and just in poor tackling, not finishing, making what should have been maybe a 4 or 5 yard gain, turning it into a 8, 9, 10 plus gain. And so that's been something that Dabo mentioned. He mentioned that last week, in the game against Boston College, he wasn't happy with the tackling in that game, and it's kind of carried over into this game. So just being more physical and finishing your tackles, just on all levels. The defensive line did not do a good job of finishing tackles. The linebackers did not for a lot of the game. So just that would have made a huge difference in this game if you bring the guy down on first contact, and instead of letting him get free. But anything else that stood out to you guys?
I said Nate Wiggins, man, he played a great game. I mean, that breakup, on the 6'7" guy. Who else was there?
Mickens was all RJ.
Yeah, I mean, our secondary is getting better. This is the first game that everybody's was healthy, but I don't think, they need to get in a film room and look. I know it's a short week, and this is back-to-back, what's it called, back-to-back away games. And, I mean, Wake Forest and NC State took a lot out of us. And so did, Boston College going on the road and play out there. They was hyped for their red bandana game. So, you had to fight off that crowd. So you got off to a slow start. Then you had to fight off this crowd too, who was hyped. They haven't beat us in 8 games. So I think that I think Clemson is emotionally exhausted. Now you got to get up to play undefeated Syracuse team, which is pretty much for the division next week. So I could see where there's a lot of emotions in it. Oh no, we got robbed. They got robbed. I can't believe anybody did this in Utah.
What just happened?
It was a pick 6, but then it was they're gonna not a pick 6, but they just caught an INT. Utah did, but they're gonna call pass interference, and it was like 4th and like 3rd and 20 or something like that.
Definitely got Jordan Travis, though. He left it all on the field for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Definitely worked for all those every single yard he got. And overall, I guess the front seven's just got to play better. Maybe, I mean, he could be right. They could be tired. But can't let Syracuse come in on homecoming and be that loss of the year. So
yeah, they have a very capable running game. Clemson is very familiar with Sean Tucker. They played him and Garrett Shaver last year. They are, a tough duo to handle in the run game. Schrader's very mobile. He can move around in the pocket. He can scramble. He's tough to bring down too, and obviously Sean Tucker is one of the best backs in the conference, and he's another guy that you cannot afford to be missing tackles against him. You got to maintain your gap integrity, run fits, all of that, or they're gonna give they're gonna break some big runs on you. So a lot to clean up defensively, but hey.
How do y'all think about the performance of the defensive coordinator so far? Do we miss Venables yet?
I mean,
not.
I mean, we missed Venables anyway. I don't, even if he had a good night tonight, I think it's just,
you can't replace that in.
Right. And it's Wes, and I think Wes is getting more comfortable in his role. And I don't think he called a poor game tonight. I think that there was some lot of, I think a lot of Clemson's big plays were just lacking execution. The things we've already mentioned, the tackling, the shoddy tackling, some stuff that wasn't in his control. Missed holding calls, stuff like that. Plays where they should have gotten home and just didn't. So I think Wes has done a good job and I think that Brent Venables was good. Even when Brent Venables was here, Clemson was good for a performance like this. It wasn't impossible. It's not like Clemson had never got ran on or anything like that. So, I mean, obviously if Venables came back, you'd take him back in a heartbeat. But I don't think it's Wes Goodwin has been a detriment or anything. I think he's got a really bright future.
We'll see. Only time will tell with him.
Yeah, that's right. All right. You guys want to get into some comments?
Yep.
All right. Let me. I'll scroll up a little bit. Yeah, guys. Guys that are tuning in, make sure drop your comments, questions. We will try to address a lot of them. We'll start with this.
You know what? We talked about it. We ain't talking about this. 13 straight wins.
Yep, 13 straight.
Yeah. Oh man, you run 10 seconds off or call. They helping USC stay in this game, man. But 13 straight wins. I took it at 3.5. I still don't see why Vegas. I know Florida State made it close at the end, but I don't know why Vegas has started off with a negative 3.5 as Clemson just a negative 3.5 favorite. I thought it was going to be a bigger blowout than what it was. It was trending that way until they did what they did.
Yeah.
At the end, I was on the Florida State chat because I was talking jump to them, and they was like Clemson could score 51. They wasn't expecting Florida State to come back and do what they did. So for the most part, I just felt like we did our thing tonight, but I just didn't like the sloppy play. But even then, they was kind of like, man, like what's this coach doing? Like, didn't he go for a fumble Ruski? Then when it was we got him off the field on what was it, 4th and 2, 4th and 3,
something like that.
Yeah, and they didn't kick the field goal. And I can't understand. I know they've been having field goal issues, but you can't tell me this dude can't hit a 30, 35-yard field goal. And that I guess is good for us, but I'm just sitting there like, get the field goal, dude, 17-14. I mean, you would made the game closer, 34-31, and changed how you play the play calling at the end of the game.
Yeah. That was a really interesting play call. It really, I mean, I kind of respect it because at that point of the game, it seemed like it was kind of getting out of hand for Florida State. So I think Norvell was just trying to get a spark. The way he calls plays in Bud Elliott from CBS, he's also a Florida State guy. He said in the past that Norvell is the kind of guy that he's going to make the aggressive play call, and if you're not successful, it increases your probability of getting blown out. And so he's willing to take that chance, willing to take that gamble. And I think you saw that with several play calls tonight. Not just the fake punt was a
game. Utah
prime example. Utah wins.
Yeah, 43-42.
Wow, USC goes down. Hey, another top 10 team goes down, not named Clemson. So we'll take it.
Oh yeah.
It's good. We didn't look great at the end, but it's better than a loss. And some of the teams around us did not look good. So, yeah. All right, let's. I want to let me address this. Russell says the running game still isn't clicking. We only average 3.8 per carry. Is that right? I don't think. I don't think that
could be.
I'm on. I'm on ESPN, and okay. I think there's an. Actually, I think there's. I don't think that's right. I think there's an issue with their site because it says. It lists everyone that had a rushing attempt, and then it has the team total, and then it has the team total twice. And the first time it says 3 carries for -7 yards, but there shouldn't be for the team, but it's talent. It's counted in the total tally. I don't know. It's really weird. If you go on the website, it'll show up. So I think that -7 is influencing the actual number. Because that doesn't seem right. Because Shipley averaged 6 yards a carry, Maffa was 4.5. DJ was 14 carries for 26 yards, but I think he got sacked once or he got sacked I think once, and he had another run for a loss. So I think in the traditional run game, I thought Clemson did a good job. I thought the traditional run game was really good.
Yeah, I think the stats might be convoluted also because of the whole DJ's short, because he didn't get any on today. So his between the sacks and then his short 1-2 yard runs, it could make it look on paper look like 3.8 yards per carry when in fact the running backs were doing really well.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing about doing a post game show, because I don't know about y'all, but I always go back and
I have to go back and rewatch.
Rewatch it to get a better understanding of what happened. And maybe that's something that we need to look into doing, this like maybe a post game reaction show.
That's an idea.
Yeah, post game, then a pregame for the next one, before we get our notes together and stuff. But that's something that needs to go.
It's kind of like upon further review or something like that, where because this is just our gut reactions, our initial reactions, maybe, our opinions could change when we go back and watch it. So, that could be something that we do in the future. Pat Bateman says, I also think we abuse the bubble screen a little too much. Well, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a huge part of the offense is the screen game. I do feel like it would, if there was more consistent effort in the blocking, but that would be good. But honestly, I thought the screen game was pretty effective tonight. You saw, I think especially to the run. Oh, we've got Tiger Paw Craven in here. What's going on, my man?
Hey, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Doing all right.
Hanging out.
How was your trip?
It was pretty good. I got to watch a good majority of the game. But thank you guys for getting on with the show without me. I really appreciate it. All you guys in the chat, appreciate you guys showing up and showing out. It was a game.
Yeah.
Got way too interesting at the end. I know you guys have already covered most of it, but yeah.
Way too interesting.
Yeah, this is what happens when you take your foot off the throttle. This is what happens when you don't you don't finish games. Clemson didn't finish that game. We started pretending like midway through the third quarter that the game was already over. I guess Florida State didn't get the message because they were still playing.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
I'm with you, and that kind of goes into the next comment. We don't have a killer instinct.
Yep.
I think in some ways, I think this team does, but it just doesn't show up consistently. I don't think they bring it every single game. I think you saw that killer instinct in the NC State game when they in the second half when they finished it, and last week in the Boston College game where Dabo was accused of running up the score by I guess by winning by 28 is running up the score now, but they really finished strong in that second half of the Boston College game.
Yeah.
So I think this team has it. It's just about bringing it consistently. It's just kind of they got a little lackadaisical. They got the crowd, because they got the crowd out of it, and they just kind of treated it like it was a scrimmage, and they kind of took their foot off the gas. So just being better about that and finishing and just bringing that attitude. Well, the job's not finished. Game's not over till the clock hits zero. All of that, all those, coach speak platitudes, whatever you want to call it. But they're true. You got to have, in this sport, if you're not giving 100%, the guy across from you that you're going up against will, and he will beat you. So you can't, let up.
What about them running up the score last week? That's kind of understandable why he did it. And sometimes you got to run up the score because you have so many undefeated teams, so you need to have your team stand out. But that's why I said, a lot of teams lost this week, so that might not be an issue this week. But however, you got to put a full game together where you just dominate. That's why I said these guys might just be tired. That I can't remember where I saw it at, but this got to be our latest buy in a very long time.
Yeah, it's not so right.
Yeah, it's after next week, so right before Notre Dame. So yeah, it is coming pretty late in the season, and you're coming off of back-to-back road games, and just you've played your toughest. When's the last time Clemson has played like its toughest division opponents, like almost back to back to back to back? Like it, I do think it's a testament to just the strength of the ACC Atlantic this year. It's more difficult than it was the past few years, and it reminds me more of back when the Deshaun Watson days, 2015, 2016, where nothing was a given. There were teams within the division that could beat you, and I think that's the case this year. So I do think there's something to that as well. It's just it's going to be it's more difficult than it was for past Clemson teams just to run it up and blow everybody out. I just don't think this team is. I think that this team can do it, and you'd like to see them do it if you want to. If you want to be a contender for the playoff, but it is also more difficult.
And I know that penalties helped us versus Florida, North Carolina State. I know it helped North Carolina State move the ball down towards the end, but we didn't even finish that game off very well either. I just think like that's a complete game. But like I said, if we look at the Nets after Syracuse, and that you just never know how that game's gonna go. But because I haven't really watched Syracuse play this year, I don't think they're as good as their record say they are. But we just got to put a complete game together.
They're very good.
Yeah. They played a very, very weak schedule. I think I bet on that Purdue game, and they ended up winning.
They were lucky to win.
Yeah, real lucky. But their schedule was very, very faulty. I mean, Louisville's not what we thought they were. And I know that's one team they beat, but I think they played a very. I think at the end of the day, when they get through the rest of their schedule, they probably be like 7-6 or something like that. They just fed on people early.
Yeah, I'm with you. John Sarian says hopefully Swanson has turned a corner. He averaged almost 46 and the long of 54. Yeah, he had a really, really good night tonight.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks were really good by him.
Yeah, just put a lot more air under the ball, more hang time. That punt that they got inside the five, it bounced right on the one, and it was a perfect backspin on it. That was a veteran punt, and that's the Aiden Swanson we heard about, coming out. He was a really highly recruited, a highly touted punter. So he has it in him. It's just about having that consistency.
Now, what can we do about? I noticed I'm watching a little bit of Florida State game over since there's nothing else to watch. What can we do about the tight end coming in and getting our defensive ends? I think that assisted a lot with our Florida State having positivity on run plays.
Yeah, the tight ends flipping the defensive ends on the way out.
Yeah. A lot of cut blocks too. That's what I saw too on those quick screens. If you go back and watch the first part of the game, it looks like it was hit a bunch of quick screens and a lot of ram blocks with the tight ends.
Yeah, BC did a little bit of that last week. With having an extra type, it wasn't quite in the same way, and I think it was a little bit. It was easier for Clemson to blow that. I think because I think BC's offensive line is just in really poor shape. I thought Florida State's offensive line held up a lot better in this game. Whether you want to attribute it to holding and all that, but they still held up really well considering the circumstances tonight. I'm no defensive mastermind. I don't know what you do. I mean, maybe you send more guys. Maybe there were times where Clemson could have been more aggressive, but it's something that Wes Goodwin is. I'm sure he's going to look at because I don't think it'll be. You put that on tape and your opponent see the kind of success Florida State had against you running the ball. They might they can try and replicate that. So I'm sure that Wes Goodwin is going to be all over that. But that is something they did, and that was a wrinkle that didn't seem like the defense was prepared for. So,
right. And one thing I'll say this also about Florida State, there was a wounded dog coming into this game. The reason why I say that, they just lost 3 straight, and they still had a chance. And they still have a very hard schedule in front of them. I think they got to play Miami and a couple other teams, Florida, of course, at the end of the year. So I think they were trying to get that out of the way. I'm trying to see this run right here. Let me see what happened. Excuse me.
JR the Gent says definitely need style points. Don't want that eye test to bite us. Yeah. It'd be nice, especially you're getting into the back half of the schedule. College football playoff rankings will be coming out. Do they come out this week or next week? You guys?
Week in November usually.
Yeah. Okay. So more like 3 weeks, I guess.
Second week in November usually.
Okay. So, putting up putting up style points, it would be nice, but you take the wins, and it seems there are opportunities for the teams around you to fall, as we saw today. Obviously Alabama going down, as well as USC just recently. So that'll help. Going about your business is ultimately the main goal, and just in winning the games, because I do think if Clemson wins out, they'll be in the playoff. It's just about seeding and all that, which could be important for your success within the playoff. So the style points are important. I don't think it's going to cost Clemson a playoff spot if they win out. But you do want that insurance.
Some big
Yeah.
games coming up too.
Yeah, style points are definitely a thing when it comes to the college football playoff. And more importantly, you just want to see a team finish a game. You know, we really, the end of the first half and into the second half, we really took control of the game from Florida State. And you really just want to see them finish that kind of game. And we just didn't finish well tonight. I think some of that was play calling. I think some of it was a lackadaisical execution at the second half of the third quarter and into the fourth quarter. It was definitely a lot of things. But at the end of the day, to your point, Jordan, if Clemson wins out, they're going to the playoffs. If they win out, they win the ACC, they're going to the playoffs. I think Clemson could even lose a game and still get into the playoffs. I think we already have some good quality wins on our schedule already. So I don't think it's going to be a problem at all. But yeah, I would have definitely liked to see Clemson finish Florida State tonight instead of kind of opening the door back up and letting them make the game look a little better than it probably actually was.
Right. Clemson's post-game win expectancy was actually 85%. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That means if that game, if both teams put up the same statistical output, game played out, if you played it 100 times, Clemson would win 85 of those 100 times. That's just kind of a metric to show how, who was better on a down-to-down basis, who really controlled the game, who was the quote-unquote better team.
Yeah.
So I do think Clemson was – so Clemson, it played out that Clemson the way it should have, but, the results leave a lot to be desired.
Yeah. Well, what I noticed, and Boston College did this too, but Florida State did it differently. They used double tight ends, and I think Clemson was sitting in a cover two. If we go look at that first drive, Clemson was sitting in a cover two a lot when they was using those double tight end. So I guess they were worried about that big receiver beating them down the field. And then you got Jordan Travis in the background. So I think that's why Clemson gave up some of the yards early. I'm rewatching the game now. And that's what I saw. I'm seeing so far is that they gave up a lot of passing yards that way. I mean, a lot of rushing yards that way.
Yeah.
So, and that's going to be interesting because I think Tucker is the leading rusher in the ACC this year and last year also. So we'll see what these guys can do what they can do to adapt. And then also on one of these plays, Clemson didn't have enough wide receiver. They had three wide receivers on one side, and Clemson only played with two defenders. So that's why you saw those quick passes getting off early with Florida State, and the linebacker had to run over. I was wondering why Bentley was in the game so much. I guess Trotter might have got tired from having to run sideline to sideline.
Yeah. Travis gets in, says FSU was handing out free hugs all night. No, not one was called. Yeah, we talked about that. That was rough. There were a lot of plays you could point to. Successful Florida State plays where there were guys getting grabbed, when they were in position to make a play. That's been kind of a common theme this year. This is not the first game. So it's frustrating, but don't want to complain too much in a win.
Comes with the status.
Yeah. See, yeah. WB2, he reiterates. Yeah. Good to be Hunter Goat Growth. It's good to be back home next week. Yes. Yeah.
Coming home. Coming home for homecoming.
That's right.
That's right. You guys are
facing an undefeated Syracuse in the Valley.
We're about to carry the crowd ourselves.
That's right.
That's what I know that Kelly Bryant gets a lot of bad publicity or bad knock around the Clemson area. But if you go back to that year they lost to Syracuse, that was an odd game because Kelly Bryant didn't play. I think he might have tried to go, and they pulled him out the game because his ankle was hurt. And
Yeah,
then
he
we
was.
were losing our backup kicker too. And we ended up losing the game, 26, 29 or 27, 29, something like that. And the kicker was just missing kicks all night. So if he would have hit them kicks, they would. And the reason why I bring up Kelly Bryant, because that particular year, I think Clemson was the first school in history to beat 5 ranked teams before the end of October. And then they got upset by Syracuse. And that's a game where that's the year they absolutely destroyed Auburn at Clemson, and they had sat Stidham like 30 times or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was like 11. I think.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I felt bad for him. That Auburn team ended up being good. Beat Alabama and Georgia,
right,
in back-to-back weeks. I remember that. That was a good Auburn team. The Clemson managed to stave off early in the year. Hunter GoPro says keep feeding Agent Zero. Yeah, he had that big play, and then you didn't see him again.
Yep.
He had two big catches.
That's that play that we've been wanting to see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He had two really nice catches, and then they didn't go to him again. And there was another one play where he was open. DJ missed him.
That Nagata play. Who fault was that? Was that Nagata's fault when he was coming on the slant?
It was a little too far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The DJ put it out too far in front of him.
Yeah, it was a bad throw. DJ missed quite a few throws tonight that have been a little uncharacteristic for him as of late. He did miss quite a few throws tonight, but
I mean, I would imagine it'd feel a little uncomfortable going into a stadium like that.
Yeah, I mean, look,
how long has it been?
Doak Campbell was rocking tonight.
How long has it been since you've seen Doak Campbell like that? With
you'd probably have to go back to maybe 2014, 2015. It's been a while. I mean, Florida State kind of, I mean, their fans always show up and stuff like that, but that environment was real tonight. That stadium was rocking.
Definitely you out off your game a little.
Yeah, for sure. But I think Clemson weathered the storm early well. They kind of got punched in the mouth early by Florida State with that quick touchdown. The stadium was rocking. The fans were involved. Everything was kind of, leaning towards FSU's direction, and Clemson kind of rebounded kind of nicely. They took those first few haymakers from Florida State. They weathered the storm. They weathered the environment pretty well, I think.
I wrote for about 5 minutes.
Yeah. I was like, oh boy. I saw, but hey, we are now 7-0, right? Or 6-0?
7-0.
7-0 now. Yeah.
13 straight wins.
Dang. It's crazy we haven't had a bye week yet.
Better first year coordinator. That's tough. But I'm gonna tell you what. It's kind of odd being undefeated, being the likely winner of your division, maybe even your conference, and you're complaining about your coordinators consistently.
Yeah.
But so far this year, definitely seemed the most growth out of Streeter. But Goodwin, I don't know. That one's a tough one for me. It's like, are we where we are because of the talent or because of his play calling?
Well, I mean, look, college football will always and forever be about talent. But there's a lot of examples out there that you can have all the talent in the world, but if the coaching staff doesn't know what to do with them, you're not exactly going to get the job done. Go look at Texas A&M.
Yeah, definitely get this in there.
Yeah.
No, sorry for any Texas A&M fans that may stumble across this video, although you probably won't. That's an example. That's just one example. I'm sure there's others out there. That's just the one that came to my mind first. And look, our coordinators have not been perfect this year. I think they're both growing. They're both evolving into kind of their new roles. I mean, it's not easy being the guy calling plays. It looks easy from the outside, right? It looks easy. Like we can critique it really well, and we can be like, hey, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that. And that's one thing. And then, I wouldn't want to replace a guy like Brent Venables as a defensive coordinator after the numbers and the number of ranked defenses that dude put up year after year. That's a tough act to follow,
Yeah.
So I think Goodwin's done really well. I think there's been some low points for this defense this season, but I think he's also adjusted his play calling. He's adjusted, his scheme a bit to kind of fit what was going on in the back end, in that weight game and stuff like that. And then Streeter, I think Streeter's done some good things, and he's done some things that I'm like, I don't really like that. That looks like some Tony Elliott stuff that we were complaining about last year. No shots at Tony Elliott. I love the guy. But last year was tough. I'm speaking of last year alone.
Yeah.
And you see some of his play calling, like specifically tonight. There was some bizarre play calling from Brandon Streeter tonight.
Yeah.
It just got weird for a while, and our offense got super stagnant, right? But then you see some of the things he has done with the offense, like getting the tight end super involved. I like some of the, the down the field passing that he's been doing and stuff like that. But, tonight it did get a little bizarre. There's a lot of, 2 and 3 yard passes behind the line of scrimmage and stuff like that. So, I think they both have room to grow. But overall, I don't think any Clemson fan, if we're being completely honest, could be disappointed with either of the new coordinators.
Right.
I think there's always criticism. There always will be. That's what happens when you're a program like Clemson and the expectations are what they are. There's always going to be criticism, but I think they've done pretty well.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I think Streeter's done a better job. And the reason why I say that, to get DJ to play like he has this coming up this past year, I think Streeter has done a better job than Goodwin. I'm not saying Goodwin has done a poor job, but given the amount of talent that we have and the amount of people that you're going to hear called on that first day, I really haven't seen us really dominate. Like I said, we go back and look at that the year where we killed Auburn. It's like, we just was beasting people. And these guys are supposed to be deeper than that particular team. So, we haven't, we given up over 20 points, like how many times this year? And then you go back comparing that to how many times we gave up 20 points back then. I mean, I would say that Streeter has done a better job than Goodwin. Now, don't get me wrong, Goodwin, he's a new coach. And we just could look around the college football right now. Teams are finding your weakness. Like, look at Alabama. Hey, get the ball out fast. We're going to run tempo. Because their secondary can't guard nobody. Same thing with Clemson. So I will give Goodwin credit with that. He has figured out some things. But the way DJ had to play against Wake Forest and tonight to get us where we are, I think that we should give them I think we should go with Streeter on that question.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree. Just considering where, I guess they had different starting points. Streeter had a much less ready to win group, coming into the year to work with, and just based off of the results from last season and the struggles last year. it was, there was a lot of work to be done to really, make this offense productive. And I think he's, I think he's done that. We complain sometimes about some of the play calling decisions and all that, but there are things you see at every single game where it's like, man, that's gonna, that's really opened up our offense. This, that's something we weren't doing well last year that we're now doing well. Whether it's pass blocking or running different new route concepts, getting the tight ends more involved. That was great to see. Both tight ends caught a touchdown pass in this game. So just stuff like that, and I should we also got to give credit to Kyle Richardson as well, being the passing game coordinator. But Streeter's the one calling the plays, and he's ultimately the guy. And it's just being the QB coach and getting DJ to have the bounce back kind of kind of season that he's had so far has been huge. But Goodwin's done a fine job, but they're both still growing. Does an undefeated Clemson team get left out of the play? No.
No chance.
No.
0% chance that ever happens.
If it comes down to Bama or Clemson getting in the playoffs, I bet Bama gets in even with two. No, I don't.
No, absolutely not.
No two-loss team has ever. If Alabama lost 2 games in 2019 and they were like 11th they weren't even close to making it. So
and people need to look at Clemson resume. I know State is on the downslide, but at one point, I don't know if I sent it to you, Craven, but Clemson, what was it? Top 15 was 85-3, and 2 of those losses were versus Clemson. So you gotta look at Clemson had some of the best wins in the this year. Go look at Go look at Ohio State combined record for their teams. I think they were like 17-16. Go look at Michigan today. They did an impressive thing, but I haven't been impressed with Penn State in a long time. But they beat Penn State today, and before that, who did they play? So what is Alabama's significant win of the year? Texas. I would say Wake Forest is just as good as Texas is right now. So I mean, they got a better record than Texas. We both went on the road and won, and
Right.
Texas quarterback got hurt, so during that game. So I would say that Clemson would have a better chance than Alabama. So I mean, you can line them up with anybody, And right now, that's not even the conversation because Alabama and USC lost. You got to think Alabama's going to have to go against Mississippi State and a couple other good teams down the road. Ole Miss. There's other teams that these teams are going to have to play. So they're going to beat each other up.
Yep.
Well, gentlemen, I got to get to work. I love talking to y'all. I got to run.
All right, DeAndre, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, man. Sometimes my Wi-Fi be acting like this is terrible at my grandma's house, but
hey, you were good all night tonight. No,
yeah. I hooked it up to the what's it called. I use my laptop, so
your phone.
No, my what's it called? The iPad.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, y'all take care.
All right, DeAndre.
All right, DeAndre. Later, man.
Easy.
That guy 13 says, honestly, I feel like this was a blessing in disguise. Great way to light a fire. And hopefully if we get up big again, they won't be coming back next time. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely going to be a teaching moment for Dabo. Dabo did, I know that made
Dabo
him sick.
likes stuff like this.
Yeah.
He likes using stuff like this to get his team's attention. And like we said on several shows this season, it's easier to teach coming off a win. Or it's better to teach coming off a win than it is a loss. Okay, nobody wants to lose any games in order to get a point across to your team. And yeah, I absolutely see Dabo using how this game ended as a way to keep his team's attention, even when they feel like they have kind of put a team away. because it kind of felt like that Clemson had put FSU away. And I think Clemson maybe the players thought that FSU was going to lay down and kind of fold after that, rush of points from the, late in the second quarter into the third quarter. And that just didn't happen. FSU kept fighting. Shout out to Jordan Travis, man. He was he balled out. You can't say the dude ain't tough. I give him that because he got smacked around a lot, and he kept getting up off the mat and doing his thing. So I hate that they crawled back into it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get. We've been talking about all the stuff that Clemson did wrong, but Florida State, yeah, they, that's a good. They are a lot better than they have been in previous years, and they showed it tonight. That's a good they're 4-3 now, but that is a really good 4-3 team. If their schedule, they had a pretty tough schedule, and they've had some injuries. And so they're kind of dealt a bad hand in some aspects, and they've fought really hard through it. So they showed a lot of fight in this game. They got on us early, and then even when Clemson took their best punch and went up, they didn't quit. And, fought back into that game. So
they had a tough 3-game stretch.
Yeah. Get a few more comments. Philip asks, he said 7-0, best and most complete Tiger performance of the 7 so far. NC State, I would say NC State was still the most complete game. Just considering the defense you were playing and just the environment, the stakes of that game.
Ego factor with NC State talking. Preseason.
Yeah, it's definitely the most satisfying win for me.
Yeah, for sure was. I still think our most complete games out there, though. I don't think we've put together
the best performance. Yeah,
the best performance we're capable of. If our offense and defense is really working together and firing on all cylinders.
They haven't played the Chickens, so.
Yeah, that's right. We got something for them this year.
We had a lot of young guys playing in a big time rocking stadium like that tonight. Byron, yeah, that's a good point, Byron. It's that was the best environment that Clemson has played in all year. You got to give them credit. It could have been really easy when Florida State went up. Especially when they scored 2 touchdowns on 2 of their first 3 drives. It could have been easy for this team to fold. The crowd was really in it. They're doing the tomahawk chop is that really gets annoying after a while.
Yeah,
it gets in your ear and it's intimidating. But I thought they weathered that really well. So that's a testament to the team. It was the reason the game was close wasn't because the crowd got in it. It was because actually I think the crowd being out of it, caused them to turn their brains off a little bit and just kind of cruise. So if anything, the crowd kind of fueled them, and that's the kind of thing you like to see.
Clemson stopped playing. That's why the game got close at the end. Clemson stopped playing football.
Yeah, I think the only thing knowing than a tomahawk is the gator tomahawk.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe that stupid Sandman they play up in Columbia up there.
Yeah,
hate that stupid thing. Play that thing 800,000 times a game.
Well, luckily it's in Death Valley this year, so we won't have to hear any of that damn rooster crow or anything like that.
Oh my God, most obnoxious thing ever.
Yeah, right. Hunter GoPro says, "I just can't see us winning in the playoffs. I hope I'm wrong." I disagree. I don't think any team right now is. I guess it depends on the matchup, but this is not the first time we've been in the middle of the season. We're like, man, I don't know if this team can. I don't know if this team is ready for the playoff. And
right.
That 2016 team that won it all did not
Yeah, they
look
did.
like a playoff team.
They lost.
Yeah, if you looked at the 2016 team during the season, there was no way you thought they were doing what they ended up doing in the playoffs.
Right.
And I would also add that look at all, if you want to say the top 10 teams or the top 5 teams, whatever you want to say. What of all of those teams, every single one of those teams at some point in time this season have looked beatable.
Yep.
Whether they lost or they didn't lose, doesn't really matter. They all have looked beatable, just like Clemson has looked beatable this season. So I don't think they're, maybe I would agree a little bit more if, there was 2 to 3 teams at the top that were laying waste to every single, team they played, and it wasn't even close, right? Maybe then. But every team, in the top 5 have looked beatable at some point in time this season. And we've only played 7 games. We got several games to keep getting better as a team and keep growing. And I think Clemson has shown, if you look at them from game 1 until right after this FSU loss, game 7, right? We've consistently gotten better as a whole each week, I think. So I think we're trending in the right direction. I would agree with you. We're not ready for the playoffs right now, but I think come playoff time, we'll be ready.
Right. WB2 says we miss T-Law. Well,
of course,
everyone would miss T-Law.
Any team in the country would drop their quarterback right now for T-Law.
Right. We can't be living in the T-Laws. Trevor Lawrence is one of the.
He's a Jaguar now.
Yeah, he's the arguably the best quarterback in school history. So it's measuring
we're not getting another
future teams
T-Law
to that standard is just not. It's not realistic. Ben comes in and says, it's actually hard to believe how bad our game management and player management is. It's utterly inexcusable. I mean, I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration. Some of it was some of it was game management, and some of it was just really, really poor execution. But yeah, there's still some really head scratching, decisions sometimes.
I mean, I get it. I think that's just frustration.
Yeah, I get the frustration,
and I get it watching the game. Just our offense, just not moving the ball at all. And you can say our defense, gave up, a ton of yards and stuff in the fourth quarter and stuff like that. But the offense didn't help them. The offense didn't help them at all. They couldn't move the ball worth anything. I mean, I remember, was that drive when we I think we got a goal line stop maybe.
Yeah.
And then we threw like 3 straight fade passes to the sideline, and they weren't even close to being caught. And we went 3 and out, and I was just like, "What are we doing?"
It took no time off the clock, and gave Florida State decent.
It was
field
just
position.
3 straight passes. They were all incomplete. They weren't even close. It wasn't even like they were contested and they were broken up. The balls landed 5 and 10 yards out of bounds, and I'm just like, that was one of the series where I was just like, that is some bizarre play calling. Why would we do that?
Yeah,
we don't have Mike Williams out there running down the sideline, or Jordan Leggett, or I mean, just we don't have those dudes that just consistently go up and get balls. So I don't know where they got that idea from.
Yeah, and then the player management portion of it, it's not always dictated by the game plan.
Yeah.
There's injuries, maybe even some that we don't know about because the guy quietly goes to the sideline without the camera noticing or whatever. But yeah, sometimes I sit scratching my head when I see who's playing on the defensive line currently, or who's in.
Sometimes
Bentley played way too much today. I don't know if maybe
who's that?
Levante Bentley. Yeah. He looked a little out of he got out of place at times. You know,
But-
and I like Bentley, but you know, he's not a burn. He's not the athlete that Trotter and Carter and Simpson are. He's a
definitely
bumper.
not.
He plays
Without-
downhill. He's closer to the you know the James Skalski, you know, Ben Boulware mold than he is the
Yeah.
Isaiah Simmons, you know, Trenton Simpson, you know, type role. But
Yeah.
But he's not going to get better without the experience. So I mean, I'm happy. Like,
yeah, I mean, and he's got to be part of the rotation. He's
now's not the time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
well, and he just needs to, you know, play better. I mean, I don't think it's all just, you know, you just got to take him out because he's an important part of the rotation in that linebacker group.
a little bit off of subject of what we're talking about right now, but towards the end of the game, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but XT, it looked like he tweaked something.
Did not notice.
I did not notice that.
You didn't notice? So it was towards the end, and
I hope.
it was like in the middle of the field, and he like was involved in the play, and he kind of fell down, and he like, I don't know. He played the next play because they went really fast, if I remember correctly. But after that, he immediately went to the sideline. And I thought I saw some trainers talking to him, and it looked like he was kind of, you know, a little grimace on his face maybe. So I don't know. Maybe I was just reading into it, but I thought I saw him tweak some. I hope that's not the case. That would be unfortunate.
You know, he's still kind of sore. So you know,
hopefully
and he can only
just that.
He can't push off on that one foot. So you know, that's why they have him playing on one side. So maybe that just flared up. I don't think it's something serious.
Yeah,
he was playing on both sides tonight, though.
Yeah,
was he?
So.
Yeah, he spelled Miles a couple times.
Maybe just, you know, flared up a little bit. You know, some pain flared up a little bit.
But yeah, probably pushing off that foot on the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah,
I assume probably just from the added workload this week, just ramping him up. But
DJ 17 passing touchdowns, only 2 INT. Very elite, right? Yep, he continues to not turn the ball over. Did a good job taking care of the ball. No plays where he, you know, you were like, oh, that should have been intercepted. So that was good. On the other hand, the defense had a couple of plays. We didn't really talk about the defense. Had a couple of plays where that you know, they could have been a turnover. You know, that KJ probably should have had a pick. He dropped back into coverage. It was really good. Baited Jordan Travis on that quick throw.
Wiggins got his hand on a couple balls.
Yeah,
They could have been.
Yeah.
But
so it just seemed that's something they can work on to, you know, is finishing on those plays, because those would have been huge. Because, you know, you did get that one turn, you did get the one turnover forcing the fumble on the sack.
Yeah, that was a nice strip sack by Murphy.
Yep. Under Watson and Lawrence, it was a first-round KO against anyone we played in the well, that's not true. Especially I mean, at times under Lawrence, that was true. You know, well, at times under both, that was true. But it wasn't like they were consistently blowing everybody out all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to look at the 2018 team and, you know, how they basically ran through everybody.
I mean, the 2018 basically blew everybody out.
Yeah.
But that was an
all-time great.
Yeah, that was a season.
Had some, you know, and even when they didn't blow any somebody, there were times where they had lackluster performances. You know.
Yeah, I get what he's saying though. It did feel, it felt easier with those two guys. You know.
Yeah.
I get what he's saying. We did tend to blow people out quite often under those two guys, but you know, look,
that's not the offense we have. So
yeah, it is not the same offense. And we don't have Deshaun Watson and we don't have Trevor Lawrence. Those two quarterbacks are better. No offense, they're better than DJ. They're better than any.
But that's not saying much.
Those two are better than than any quarterback we currently have on the roster.
Yeah.
So
even Cade.
Yes, even Cade.
But he's Watson's second coming.
Yeah, I
Or
believe.
to
I believe
Dabo.
it.
I
I
hope,
believe it
man.
when I see it. I
Yeah.
hope he is, but
Yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it. I don't, yeah, I don't like when people do those kind of comparisons, especially to all time great players like Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence. It's just
Just
it's
leave him.
unfair. It's unfair for that player coming in because to live up to something like that and what those two dudes accomplished at Clemson, you don't want to be mentioned with those dudes unless you're ready for it.
Unless you earned it.
Yeah, I don't want to be the kid coming out of high school being like, "Oh, this is the next Deshaun Watson." No,
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't want that.
Right.
Let me win a natty first.
Yeah, let me do something first, and then we can maybe talk about our games being similar in the way that in the style that we play.
John says, I agree with Dabo and his presser. Our defense played great in the second half outside of the last series when we just lost our mind. I mean, yeah, pretty much just, those last couple, that was strange. But they did a good job. But in the second half, they did a good job. Florida State moved the ball, but they did a good job stopping them on fourth downs for the most part.
Yeah, we definitely bowed up in the red zone.
Yeah,
really well.
Nico says, I don't want to be that guy, but DJ can go back to his old ways. And well, don't be that guy then. Don't speak that into existence. Don't do that.
Hey, get that off the screen. Delete.
Yeah.
Delete.
Knock on wood, whatever you got to do.
Don't put that bad juju in the universe. Don't you dare.
Yeah.
No.
I'm happy with the DJ we have right now.
The old DJ retired in 2021. It is now 2022.
Yep. The fact that downfield passing is considered a win speaks volumes to our coaching incompetence. I don't coaching incompetence.
I don't understand what he's trying to say there.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, it's not just that they're attempting downfield passes. It was good, well designed stuff. Guys.
Yeah, like that one they got to Allen.
Yep.
Squeaking out of the backfield, right where he kind of delayed, looked like he was in as a part of the protection scheme, and then slipped out of the backfield, streaking up the sideline for a touchdown. I mean, that's a great design. You got to give coaches credit for stuff like that. That's
the big play to Antonio Williams. I mean, those were
that's a good scheme.
Yeah, good pass protection. That's not. I mean, that's a win for anybody. It's not.
You just have to be more consistent, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We would all like it to be more consistent, but
be some running the clock out passing plays because I'm just like.
Yeah.
Yeah, third. I will say that guy 13. I will say our third down red zone third down percentage and red zone percentage are night and day compared to last season. I remember one game last year where we didn't convert a third down until the third quarter. You see, the funny part is I can't even identify exactly what game that you could probably apply that to.
There were several games last year where I would believe that stat.
The Georgia game probably is definitely one of them. But,
yeah.
We may not have converted a third down in the Georgia game.
To this day, last year still feels like a bad dream.
It does, man.
Yeah.
I block out like large portions of last year. I just don't want to think about it. That was a miserable. Even winning games, it's like I've never been through a season, and we always talk about it as a down year because it really was. But when you look at the win-loss column, most teams would that would be a good season. That would be a well-accomplished season. But if you watched Clemson play last year, I mean, even when we won, it felt like we lost.
It definitely did. It was horrible.
All right. And I thank you guys for all these comments. I want to get to. I'm trying to get to a lot of them. We've been going for an hour and a half, and I want to end it soon. Let me get to some more recent ones. Dabo said Xavier Thomas came out at the end due to soreness. Sweeney think that's it. That's it on the injury front outside of Jacob Maloney, specialty. Yeah, when he went, I remember he went down. That's good. That's
Well,
good
that's
news.
Good to hear.
Hunter GoFro says, "Don't let the record fool you. Syracuse is not that." I mean, I agree. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
no.
a team that you can't ignore them. But they are certainly beatable. They have not played they probably should have a couple, 2 or 3 losses.
Yeah. We've almost lost to some not very good Syracuse teams in the past.
Yeah.
So.
Played a broken.
You gotta take them seriously. I mean, they're not a bad team, but they are not. I would not consider. I don't think they're truly like a top 20 team in the country.
No. I think their record is deceiving at this point.
They should have lost to Purdue. That you could argue they should have lost to Virginia, and they beat an NC State team without their starting quarterback.
Yeah, he's out for the season now, isn't he?
Yep, Devin Leary is out for
Wow.
the year.
I don't know. North Carolina State might
like a 6-year.
they might fold at this point.
Yep.
I don't know.
Hopefully, within context, when the College Football Playoff Committee is evaluating Clemson's wins, it's like if NC State continues to lose, then it's like Clemson beat them when they had their quarterback. And
yeah, I would think they would have to factor in the fact that they lost their starting quarterback for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
They
tend to do that for the teams they're evaluating, but do they? But I don't. Do they make that consideration for the opponents?
I don't know. I don't know how that would work.
What else? Mr. Jimmy Dean said, I think Ngata had 1 catch. He had that one. He had a really nice sideline catch.
He did. Yep.
He got his both feet down. That was a really good catch. But
nice back shoulder ball by DJ.
Yeah. He got a red zone target. Could argue the guy, it was probably good cover. There was probably hand fighting on both ends, but there was some contact there, but he wasn't able to haul it in. I'm trying to think, did he get another catch? Yeah. Then the one where DJ put it out too far in front of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to WB2 on the bottom of the comments. I think he's asked the question like 3 times at this point.
Okay, we'll address that. Is Cade ready to step in for DJ if he goes down?
He's got to be.
I don't know. Maybe. We don't know.
I hope that doesn't happen, but if it does, then we ain't got no choice. He's the next guy.
I mean, at the latest, we'll see against Notre Dame because they're not playing that well. So,
yeah. So let's not even consider the possibility of DJ going down now. Right now, we've been really blessed that he's been healthy, especially with how much we run him. But he's been healthy.
Man, some of them runs, dude. I'm just like, bro.
He's gonna get
this man is gonna get hurt eventually.
Edward.
I cringe pretty hard.
Yeah.
It's tough. He gets lit up.
He goes for them like short yardage ones, and he puts his face in there, and I appreciate it. Like he's all in and all that good stuff. But man, it's hard to see your quarterback get hit like that.
Right. Edward asked, "Did Green play?" I don't remember seeing him. That's actually a good question. I don't
believe so. I don't believe he played.
I'll have to check the snap counts on that.
Yeah. I definitely saw him on the sideline.
Anything else that I want to address? JR says Deshaun Watson is better than T-Law. I don't want to get into that argument.
We're not doing that. No.
I don't want to do that.
That's a different video for a different day.
Yeah, let's do a podcast on that one.
Yeah, you could have we could have a full 3-hour show that delving into this. That's a debate I hate. I don't want to even have because I love both of them.
I don't think it's a debate that matters.
Yeah, it doesn't. They were both both great.
They both delivered championships to Clemson, and they both were elite quarterbacks, and they both should have won Heisman trophies.
Yeah. Both were runners. Trevor Lawrence had the COVID thing that kept him from winning it.
Yep.
Although Devontae Smith had a hell of a season, so maybe
he did.
There was no chance he would have got it. But
his commercial tonight was hilarious.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that Heisman commercial.
Yeah.
I have to go back and watch that.
So yeah, it was good. It's worth going back and watching. It was a good Heisman commercial.
Yeah. Tennessee fans are about to be insufferable. Well, they weren't already. They weren't already. Yeah. No.
Yeah, they are. They absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Well, they play Georgia in like 2 or 3 weeks, so it only lasts for so long.
Yeah. Well,
we hope.
With how Georgia's played, I mean, they took care of business today, but it was Vanderbilt. So
man. Yeah, but to his point, Tennessee's going to be extremely loud on the internet this week. They just got a 15-year shadow off of them. They just broke that 15-year curse. The Nick Saban curse on them. They have broken it. I don't know what voodoo spell they cooked up in the offseason, but it worked.
Yeah, they're playing really well right now. That was a hell of a game.
That was a crazy game. Oh, yeah. Wow. Just wow. Like the ending. Alabama goes down. You think they're about to win the game. He pushes it to the right, and then Tennessee gets the ball with they had 19 seconds, and they got in field goal range and kicked a game-winning field goal.
Oh, I bet that kicker's gotten some death threats already.
Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah, and it's sad because Will Reichard, the Bama kicker, he's been pretty good for them, but that was a tough miss there. And
yeah, it was.
And it's fitting that Tennessee won theirs on a knuckleball. It was the ugliest game winner I've ever seen.
Did that ball get tipped at all, or
I thought he missed it.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be short. I didn't think he got enough leg on it because it was so ugly.
As soon as it came off and I saw it, I was like, oh no, he missed it too. And then somehow it just kept carrying.
Yeah,
I don't know how.
I was like, oh man, that's short. That's tough. I mean, man, Tennessee's about to lose again on a missed kick because back when Lane Kiffin was the coach, they lost on a They lost on a missed kick, so that would have been. And Lane Kiffin even tweeted out, he was like, "Make the kick this time."
Of course he would.
Yeah, I love Lane. I love Lane Kiffin.
Of course he would.
That's pretty funny. But yeah.
It was a great day of college football.
Yeah, the landscape changed. Clemson was not in a day of some big time upsets. Clemson was not a participant in that. So
that's right.
We
were not one of the top 10 teams to fall today.
Right.
So that's always a good thing.
But yeah, we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. I think we've exhausted everything that we wanted to talk about. Once again, Clemson wins the game 34-28 over Florida State. Thank you guys in the comment section for interacting, for leaving your comments and questions. It's been really great. Helps drive the conversation. Please hit that like button. And if you hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Guys, what any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
No, I'm looking forward to homecoming.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, looking forward to next week. We got an undefeated Syracuse coming into the Valley. I'll be there for the game.
We're gonna have a victory dinner at Esso.
Smitty will be there for the game. Hopefully, we can link up with Jordan at some point.
Yeah, man. I'll let you know because I got family coming in, and they're
Yeah.
gonna.
I know you
Yeah,
got stuff going on. If
We're
not,
SO Club.
yeah.
Oh, you know what, if I could convince them to come down to the SO, that'd be great.
Yeah, but we'll talk about all that offline. But yeah, to everybody in the chat, hey, thanks for popping in. Another Clemson win. We are now 7-0 on the season. Couldn't be any better than what we are right now. And here's to continue improvement. And next week, Tigers on top.
Right on. Hunter Go. One last comment. Hunter GoPro says, "Beat the fruit." That's right.
That's right.
We're the real orange in the ACC. We're going to show them that Death Valley is not the Carrier Dome. We don't have to be on top of you to be loud. We have a real stadium. We're not playing in a basketball stadium, and we play on real natural grass the way God intended.
Hey,
So,
the only thing that the Carrier Dome and Death Valley have in common is we both do not have AC.
yeah,
So that's about it. That's where the similarities end.
how's the cell service in the Carrier Dome? Is it just as shitty as Death Valley is?
Or
about the same?
Yeah, about the same. It wasn't terrible, but it's not.
Oh, so then it's
either.
better. It's better. It's better than Death Valley then.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's probably better actually. So hey,
my phone doesn't work in Death Valley.
Yeah, my mind just gives up on me.
Shout out to the Carrier Dome. They have better cell phone signal than Death Valley.
Yeah.
They got T-Mobile.
They got T-Mobile.
Death Valley's got Verizon.
They switched out the air conditioners for cell phone boosters.
Yeah, hopefully they fix that in the future. All right, guys. Yeah, dude, once again, thanks for joining me. Thank you guys in the live chat, and make sure you join us next Friday, 5 p.m. for the Syracuse pregame show.
Ooh, I think we should talk about that maybe, because I think I'm definitely going to be traveling. I don't know about.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we will be traveling.
Yeah, so it may be a different time. So make sure you hit the notification bell so you guys will know. We'll schedule it beforehand, but you guys will know when we go live.
Yeah, we'll try to schedule it well in advance and try to post something on the channel so you guys have an idea of when we're going to do it. We'll all get together offline. As you guys know, a lot of us are going to be traveling next weekend down to the game. Jordan's got things going on next weekend as well, so just bear with us. The time will change for this week, and hopefully we'll get back to our normal schedule next week.
All righty. Thanks, guys. And as always, go Tigers.